Welcome to About Mansfield. It's your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, broadcasting from the Somark Studios, along with the About Mansfield news team. Colleen Daniel, she's out there in Studio West. This is the January 15th, 2025, 254th edition. Coming up today, it's Mansfield News, Talk, and Information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance.
Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week. The run for city council has begun. Man's best friend retires in a moment with the mayor. 89th State Legislature elects a new Speaker of the House. Mansfield police officers disarm a volatile situation in Rose Park.
Student-run bistro is back in business after the holiday break. Music Alley Festival is looking for the next great act. And in the talk segment, Steve concludes his talk with Texas Health Hospital's CEO, Eulanie Lashley. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Navigating the ever-changing real estate market can be exhausting. At the Hornburg Real Estate Group at One West, our team of experts help make the most of your home selling goals. From the ability to bring buyers multiple cash offers, offer different ways to sell your home, and even offer pay-at-close vendors, we help you get top dollar. We have a robust marketing strategy to ensure you always have options to get your home sold in the way that makes the most sense for you. Each agent at the Hornburg Real Estate Group has been expertly trained and has years of experience behind them. Find out why our clients consistently rate us 5 stars year after year. Call or text us at 817-264-7087. Again, that's 817-264-7087. Or visit us online at homesbyhrg.com.
Hi, this is Daryl Perez, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield. We know it's only January, but the race for the May City Council elections has begun, with candidates announcing their intentions. Restaurant owner Melissa Perez has launched a campaign website indicating her interest in the Place 5 seat currently held by Realtor Julie Short. The Perez campaign website can be found at melissaformansfield.com.
As your voice on City Council, I'll work to keep our streets safe, our schools strong, and preserve the freedoms that define our way of life.
Meanwhile, Chamber of Commerce President Lori Williams announced her candidacy for Place 2, which is currently held by Tamara Bounds, who is running for re-election. Williams published a website at loriformansfield.com. And then there's the speculation that Short may enter the mayoral race, and that appears to be coming true as her website is currently under construction at julieshortformansfield.com. Short would challenge current mayor Michael Evans, who has confirmed his intent to seek re-election. There is no word on whether or not Miss Short will relinquish her Place 5 council seat in order to run for mayor. The filing date to run for city council began on Wednesday, January 15th, and closes at the end of the business day on February 14th. The Mansfield City Council held a regularly scheduled meeting on Monday. The following opinions of those of Michael Evans may not necessarily reflect those of this Mansfield City Council. It is Tuesday morning. We say good morning to Mayor Michael Evans.
And top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning. You start off the evening Monday night with an award of one of my favorite people who work for the city and a lover of Bluebell ice cream.
Oh, yeah. You must be talking about Ann Beck.
Yes, sir.
Ann Beck, we honored her. She is our Parks Department Marketing and Communications Manager, and she was honored with the Jesse Fernandez Frontline Leadership Award, recognizing all of her contributions contributions to our organization. Ann joined the city of Mansfield in 2016, and we want to congratulate her on such a prestigious award. Let me tell you something. She's always behind the scenes, but you know that lady gives quality work. So a shout out to Ann Beck and the Parks Department and the leadership of the Parks Department for recognizing the great work that she does.
Another shout out to Ann Beck. Man's best friend retires.
Yeah, you know what? This was really kind of sad. It really was, because we bid farewell to a beloved service member of our police department, K9 Stash. He joined our city in November of 2019, underwent rigorous training, began his tour of duty alongside Officer Wiley in March of 2020. Now listen to this. Stash has served Mansfield by making remarkable finds during his career. I'm talking about over $850,000 of bad money that he got off the streets, including over 100 pounds of narcotics, 11 firearms, so it was kind of hard to see him go. And so we wish Stash the best in his retirement, knowing that he'll continue to be referred to as a very good boy.
Yes.
And Officer Wiley is going to take Stash into his family, and it just ought to be that way. And Officer Wiley's an awesome guy himself. So, we salute Stash.
Absolutely. What are some of the highlights of the 10 consent agenda items?
Let's see what some of them are. So we had a couple of language amendments for chapters 51 and 90 of the Code of Ordinances. A lot of that had to do with vicious dogs and just vicious animals. So we changed some of the wording in that regard. And we also highlighted professional services contracts for several sewer-related repairs. We want to repair the sewer, and improvements. That included the design of a lift station addition at the Rockwood addition, and there were some other projects included design for road improvement projects, such as the design of a southbound entrance ramp, ladies and gentlemen, at US 287 near North Walnut Creek. So that was some of the sexy projects.
That one's really needed.
It is really needed. It has been needed for a long time. So happy we were able to get that done.
Let's talk about the next item, a historic church in Mansfield.
Yeah, we had a first reading, discussed adding a historic landmark overlay district designation for the First Methodist Church parsonage, which was built in 1945. So if approved, this designation is going to classify the church parsonage as historically significant, remaining an important part of our community's heritage for hundreds of years to come. And to add to that, the City Council also amended our TERS number 1 by expanding the projects that will receive money allocated to this particular area. So let me remind folks, Steve, if you don't mind, about TERS.
Yeah, please.
TERS is a tax increment reinvestment zone, which means that any additional property taxes, they go into this particular fund to help pay for public improvements or developments within said zone, like the Veterans Memorial, Julian Fields Park, that kind of a thing, which as a matter of fact, relieves the tax burden from our folks, from our residents. So it's a way to get some good things done, and it's a way that projects actually pay for themselves.
And then the final topic of the night was a renovation to a Waxahachie building?
Yes. And now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We Texans say Waxahachie.
I'm not from around here.
I know. I'm telling you, it's Waxahachie. So we also discussed renovations to the Ellis County Appraisal District building. People forget that the city of Mansfield is in Tarrant, Johnson, and Ellis County. So we're taking care of our friends in Ellis County. But again, it's all a part of us, and they really did need these renovations to take place, and kept us really from having to build a new structure all within itself.
Waxahachie.
There you go.
Now, every episode goes Wednesday through Tuesday, and so because it's a weekly podcast, and coming up this coming Monday, so it's part of this week's show, Martin Luther King Day.
Yes.
You want to take a second and tell us the importance of Martin Luther King Day?
Sure. Martin Luther King Day, a day on, not a day off, a day of service, a day when we recognize the work of a drum major for peace, for justice. Martin Luther King Day, if you would, should bring images to mind, to heart of unifying our nation, our country, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, but understanding that it is a blessing to live in the greatest nation in this world and to enjoy civil rights and to understand how important those rights are. And I believe that's a common denominator of what MLK Day is all about. So thank you for asking me that.
In the United States of America.
We are the United States of America. And keep in mind, what does that mean? That means compromise. That means working together. That means sharing common goals and also common causes. So, that's who we are. And you know what? We're going to keep on working to make that dream come true. And when I say we, I mean us Americans, all of us. We can do that thing.
I have a dream.
I do too, brother.
That is a moment with the mayor. And Mr. Mayor, go forth. Make it a great day. Make it a great week. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you soon.
The 89th Texas State Legislature is back in session as of Tuesday. And one of the first agenda items was to elect a new Speaker of the House. State Representative and former Mansfield Mayor David Cook secured the House Republican caucus endorsement back in December. Yet rival Republican Representative Dustin Burrows of Lubbock claimed to have bipartisan support to win the leadership role. One major issue dividing the caucus is the future of Democratic committee chairs, which Cook supporting their removal. At the end of the day,
there are 85 votes in favor of the Honorable Dustin Burrows of Lubbock County. There are 55 votes in favor of the Honorable David Cook of Tarrant County, and 9 present not voting. Pursuant to the Constitution and laws of the state of Texas, I declare the Honorable Dustin Burrows of Lubbock County to be the duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 89th Legislature.
Mansfield police officers responded to a situation at Catherine Rose Memorial Park around 6:40 Tuesday morning involving an armed individual in mental distress and threatening self-harm. Officers safely de-escalated the incident, convincing the individual to surrender their firearm, reportedly without injuries. Authorities confirmed that the individual was connected to the appropriate mental health resources. Police emphasized the importance of seeking help if you or someone you know is struggling. If it's an emergency, dial 911. For mental health support, contact the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988.
Savvy's Bistro, the student-operated restaurant, is set to reopen on Wednesday, January 15th. The updated menu will be available during the bistro's operating hours, Wednesdays through Fridays from 12 noon to 1:30 p.m. To mark the start of the semester, the bistro will feature a special menu inspired by a surprise cuisine. That special menu is available now through January 24th, featuring Vietnamese favorites such as pho, banh mi, coconut, custard, and Vietnamese coffee. Savvy's Bistro is located at 1120 West Debbie Lane in the Ben Barber High School building and invites you to enjoy another semester of creative and thoughtfully prepared meals. The Music Alley Main Stage Minute is back, offering a chance for local talent to shine. Here's how it works. Bands, performance groups, or solo acts are all invited to submit a demo reel, preferably a YouTube link, to the city's special events coordinators. All submissions will be posted online for public viewing. The deadline for submissions is February 1st. Voting will take place from February 2nd to February 10th. The act with the most votes will open for the Music Alley headliner on April 5th. This is a paid opportunity for performers, so submit your videos now or tag a performer you'd like to see. Email the video link to specialevents@mansfieldtexas.gov.
An in-depth look at boys basketball. We'll talk about it because sports is next.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this, an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a wedding reception, corporate Christmas party, or community gathering. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
In sports, it's the Lake Ridge Eagles who are topping our sportscast today. They currently, the boys basketball team, 24-2, and in district play, they are 4-0 and in first place. They've won 13 of their last 14 games. Of the 26 games they've played so far, only 5 of them have been on their home court, where they've posted a 4-1 record. 14 of those games have been played on neutral location tournament courts. The one standout on the Eagles team is senior Eze Nawakama, who leads the team in points per game, field goal percentage, rebounds per game, blocks per game, free throws per game, total points, blocks, and rebounds. This Friday night, the Lake Ridge Eagles are at Boswell, 8 p.m. tip-off. The Summit Jaguars are currently 19-6 right now, and in district play, 5-0 with first place ranking. They've won 7 of their last 9 games. Their biggest win came early in the season as the Jags routed Coppell 82-60. Another big scoring game for the Jags happened just last week as they toppled Burleson 72-34. This coming Friday night, they hit the road to Everman. 7 p.m. tip-off. Let's head on over to Timberview, where the Wolves are currently 20-5, in second place in the district with a 4-1 district record. They have won 11 of their last 12 games, including starting the new year with a big win over Everman, 77-46. This coming Friday night, they are at home against Centennial, 7 p.m. tip-off. Your Mansfield Tigers are currently 11-11, and in district play, they are fourth place with a 2-2 record, including an even 5-5 for their last 10 outings. Their biggest win of the season so far came just before Thanksgiving in tournament play as the Tigers rocked the Fort Worth South Hills Scorpions like a hurricane, 72-29. This coming Friday night, the Tigers are at home against Weatherford, 8 p.m. tip-off. Let's head on over to Legacy, where the Broncos are currently 7-15 with a 1-4 district record and in sixth place. 2-8 in the last 10 games. Their big win of the season came in tournament play at the end of November, ousting Houston-Madison Marlins 95-32. Legacy has the night off on Friday. By the way, on a personal note, one thing that is grossly lacking online when researching these 5 teams is statistics. We would love to bring you more player information, but that info just isn't out there. Next week, we will focus on the 5 girls basketball teams. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, it doesn't matter to me. You can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Think of it as your audio letter to the editor. That voicemail number again, 817-435-2938. Here's a programming note. Our real estate reporter, Angela Hornburg, she's moving on at the end of the month, and that means we've got a spot to fill. Are you or someone you know a real estate rock star bursting with ideas, tips, and insider information? Think you've got what it takes to be the next go-to voice of real estate in Mansfield? Shoot us an email at info@aboutmansfield.com, and we will hook you up with the details on how to audition. Let's see if you're ready to bring the heat. This coming Monday, January 20th, is National DJ Day, a celebration of those creative personalities who bring music to life. The day highlights the DJs who shaped musical trends, create unforgettable experiences, and connect people through the universal language of music. The date also honors Alan Freed, the legendary 1950s DJ who credited with popularizing the term rock and roll. Freed's work not only revolutionized the music industry, but also bridged cultural divides through its love for music. The history of DJing dates back to 1909 when Ray Newby, at just 16 years old, became the world's first disc jockey during a live radio experiment. By the 1930s, the term disc jockey emerged, referring to operators who spun phonograph records. DJs gained prominence in the 1940s and 50s, introducing new music to radio audiences, and reached cultural icon status in the 70s and 80s during the rise of disco and hip-hop. Innovators like DJ Kool Herc revolutionized hip-hop with turntable techniques and then extended beats and energized crowds. Today, DJs are not just entertainers, but they're storytellers using technology to craft experiences that transcends boundaries. Celebrate National DJ Day by tuning in to your favorite DJ or perhaps creating your own Spotify playlist to share with others.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
I'm Angel Biasatti, and we'll be talking about why exercise may be a more efficient treatment for depression than antidepressants. In Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
Wondering how you go from your home that has a mortgage on it to building your dream home? I'm Angela Hornburg, and we'll talk about it in the Mansfield Real Estate Update.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, imagine your morning cold brew took a tropical vacation and came back with a sophisticated edge.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
Congratulations to Jeannie Herman, who knew that Mansfield, Texas, overtook Mansfield, Ohio, as the nation's most populated city named Mansfield during the 2010s. By the way, the least populated Mansfield can be found in South Dakota, with 93 citizens. When we come back, this week's trivia question. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. I've mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again. Not everyone wins on a Wednesday. So if you're listening to this on Thursday, Friday, or whenever, give it a shot. You may be taking home a $25 restaurant gift card. Colleen, I yield the microphone to you.
Well, Steve, perusing through the book, The History of Mansfield, one thing that was noticeably absent on the city council over the decades was the presence of African Americans, Latinos, and women. This week's trivia question is, who was the first African American to be elected to the Mansfield City Council? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, who was the first African American to be elected to the Mansfield City Council? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, this is Mansfield Chamber of Commerce CEO Lori Williams, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti has information on exercise and depression in Methodist Mansfield News to Know. Angel?
According to a recent study, exercise is 1.5 times better, more effective, to reduce mild to moderate symptoms of depression, psychological stress, and anxiety than medication or cognitive behavior therapy, according to a new study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. This study found that brief exercise programs provided more benefits than extended regimens, and that higher intensity activities produced the strongest benefits. While all forms of exercise can benefit one's health, the study found large reductions in depression were found for dancing, and moderate reductions in depression for walking, jogging, yoga, strength training, aerobic exercise, and Tai Chi. Ultimately, any amount of exercise improves your well-being and your mental health. That's Methodist Mansfield News to Know. I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Angela Hornburg addresses how to go from a mortgage to building your dream home in the Mansfield real estate market update. Angela?
You own your home and you still have a mortgage on it, but you want to buy something new. How does that work? This is a question that I hear from people often, and I'd love to make this really simple for homeowners who are dreaming of their next home. First, when you sell your home, the mortgage does not need to be paid off to sell. What happens at the time of selling is that the title company collects all of the money due from the sale, and before they give you, the homeowner, your proceeds, they will pay all mortgages, liens, fees for you out of the total money received. Once all of that has been paid, you receive the remainder, and that's what you use to purchase your next home. By the way, it's a common misconception that you have to put down all of your proceeds on the next house. That is not true. If you receive $100,000 in profit from the sale of your home, you can put as little or as much down on the next one without any penalties to you. As an example, let's say you sell your home for $400,000 and your mortgage balance is $150,000. At the time of closing, the title company receives $400,000 and they pay off your mortgage balance, which leaves you with $250,000. Now that you know how to get going with selling your home, let's talk about how to sell and build your dream home. There are 2 ways to accomplish this. The first way to accomplish this is to sell your current home and move into a rental for a year while you build. This frees up your equity from your current home and gives you the opportunity to take your time with the new construction home. This is primarily what people choose to do when they build a custom home, because building a custom home is a more intensive and longer process. The second way to accomplish this is to find your new construction home with a builder who is already building in a neighborhood. You can choose your lot, choose your floor plan, and choose your finishes in this scenario, and have a pretty good idea of when the home will be ready ahead of that time frame. In this scenario, when your home is about 90 days from completion, you would list your current home and get it sold prior to the new house being finished to move from one to the other and take your proceeds from the sale to put down on the new one. In this situation, you would need some funds from savings or your 401k to put down as a deposit to get the process started. Each builder requires a different amount for the deposit, and it's usually commensurate to the total price of the new home. Working with an experienced agent is vital on both sides of this scenario, so if you're thinking about building your dream home, I would recommend that you get with your favorite real estate expert for a consultation on how to get started and the paths that make the most sense for you. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I am Angela Hornburg, broker with One West Real Estate.
Incidentally, Angela is leaving the podcast at the end of January, which creates an opening. Are you or someone you know a real estate professional who's full of ideas, tips, and advice? Send us an email to info@aboutmansfield.com and we'll get you the info about how you can audition to be the next voice of real estate in Mansfield. In the meantime, shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a morning cold brew that just returned from a tropical vacation in the cocktail of the week. Brian?
This week's cocktail feature is the Coconut Cold Brew Cooler. It's a brilliant fusion that proves that coffee cocktails can both refined and refreshing. But don't worry about taking notes as I'm giving out the ingredients and instructions. They're always posted on bourbongospel.com. Ingredients: 2 ounces of white rum, 1.5 ounces of cold brew coffee, fresh, strong, and properly chilled, 1 ounce of coconut water, 1/4 ounce of cinnamon syrup, coffee beans, and coconut flakes for garnish. For the cinnamon syrup, you're going to take 2 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar, and 4 broken cinnamon sticks. First thing you're going to do is make the cinnamon syrup by heating the sugar and water with the broken cinnamon sticks in it. Simmer once it comes to a boil for about 10 minutes. Cool and strain. Then take your shaker and fill it with fresh ice. Add the rum, the cold brew, the coconut water, and the 1/4 ounce of cinnamon syrup. Shake vigorously for about 12 to 15 seconds, and then double strain into a Collins glass filled with fresh ice. Then garnish with the famous 3 coffee beans and a sprinkle of toasted coconut. The flavor profile: the primary is going to be rich coffee and smooth rum. The secondary is you're going to pick up that tropical coconut. And then the finish is going to be a warming cinnamon spice. So why does this cocktail work so perfectly for January? It's bringing together the comforting ritual of your morning coffee with the evening's tropical escape. It's when winter feels endless, this cocktail reminds us that warmer days are ahead. But as always, I'm open to hear your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with the conclusion of Steve's in-studio interview with Texas Health Hospital's CEO, Eulanie Lashley.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
I'm Councilman Brent Newsom, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And today we present part 2 of our interview with Texas Health Hospital's CEO, Eulanie Lashley. Enjoy. 2008 was a downturn in the economy.
It was.
And did that affect the hospital that you were working at?
It did. I think it impacted everybody. I will say that, Advent Health has always done an incredible job at being great stewards of our resources and making sure that we invest wisely, we structure ourselves wisely so that when we come upon situations like this, it's much easier for us to navigate. It's kind of like when you think of the story of David, when he knew that, Joseph, when he went to go work with Pharaoh and he was like, famine's coming. The organization always does a really good job at making sure that we're taking care of the present, but also looking ahead to the future. So even though we felt it, we didn't feel it near at the level that others in the local Florida market did. I think we were the only ones who were still doing construction and moving on with capital projects, et cetera, because of just the discipline that we've had as an organization over the years.
2008 was it Kansas or Florida?
Florida. I'm in Florida now in 2008.
Okay. You mentioned Kansas. Where did that come in?
Kansas. I interned in Kansas in the summer of 2007.
Gotcha. So you went from Boston to Michigan.
Boston, Michigan, Kansas, Florida.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm keeping track here.
Yeah,
so
you
because
really
you've lived in more places than most. I've only lived in 2 cities in my entire life.
Wow.
San Diego and Mansfield.
Wow.
Now, San Diego, that's why I stayed there so long because, it's San Diego.
Yeah.
You so far have lived in four different locations in the United States, which is, I think, is more than the average person. Yeah. Mansfield makes it 5. I'm not about to find out if they're even more than that. You're shaking your head no. So you went from Florida to Mansfield.
Florida to Mansfield.
So what you were using your accounting degree without doing accounting.
Yeah.
In 2008, you were learning the administrative side of
just the basics of how healthcare finance works, right? And how hospitals work. How does what happens at the bedside translate into the financial picture? And then also, how do we provide the right information from a finance perspective? How do we provide the right information to the folks who are sitting at the tables making the decisions to help inform the work that they were going to do? Oftentimes, you might find folks who are very strong clinically, nurses, physicians, directors of departments who are very, very strong clinically. But in terms of the finance part of it, the way the math works, it's not always the easiest thing to work through. And so my role at that time was helping to provide the information and the insights to help those folks make really good decisions about how to run the organization. And so I got the opportunity to graduate from that first starting point as a financial analyst. You get a little bit more complex. I became a senior financial analyst, and then I took on some of the more challenging projects in our departments, building the net revenue, basically telling everybody how much we were going to make in the next cycle. I did that as a lead analyst. And then just grew from there to manager and then assistant director and director.
Up the ladder. Okay. 2020, we saw a pandemic called COVID.
Yeah.
Or the coronavirus, as we used to call it.
Yeah.
Where were you? And talk about your career at that time.
Man, in 2020, I was the director of finance at Advent Health, Apopka, located in Apopka, Florida. And it was, it's one of those things that you go through in life that it leaves a mark and it teaches you a lot of lessons. I remember initially sitting with the executive team when we were just learning about what was happening and trying to prepare ourselves for what was ahead. We had a team that we were working to lead who, they didn't understand the virus either. And certainly it was complicated, the feelings around the virus and what the best course of actions were. It was complicated for all of us, and we're all trying to navigate that at the same time. And so when the early reports started coming out of New York about how overwhelmed the system was getting and some of the things that they were having to do to care for the communities, but also to try to keep the staff safe, we really, it was humbling because you realized that there was not much that you could do, but you also had to provide support for the team members who were also feeling nervous and feeling scared, and supporting the families as well. So it's just, it would have been one thing if it were, hey, there's something coming. We know what it is. We know exactly how to treat it. That's one thing. To say something's coming, we're not exactly sure what treatment is going to work. We're not exactly sure how the system will respond to it. We know that people are getting really sick. And oh, by the way, there's not enough supplies to go around.
Oh, and there aren't enough rooms. There aren't enough beds.
Correct.
And the overcrowding was
correct. And I think I was very fortunate at that time to be working with the executive team that I was, because there are so many lessons that I learned from that process about what leadership really looks like. I think a lot of times we think it's the person who gets to dress nice and walk around the hospital and use all the fancy words. But what I saw in my leaders at that time were a group of people who sat in a room. They would pray together. They would cry together. They strategized together. But the main thing that they focused on was we have to make sure that our team is well taken care of. And so at my facility, that looked like, hey, we're going to be rounding, and maybe we're not wearing suits today. Maybe we're wearing scrubs today.
Yeah.
And we are figuring out how to fold blankets and hand them out to our nurses. Maybe we're trying to figure out how to make sure we streamline our supply collection so that our nurses and our physicians have what they need in order to be able to care for our patients. Maybe it's the ability to roll up our sleeves and go out into the community and help educate people on what to expect and how to keep themselves safe and what they should be looking for. And I think the thing that I think had a really lasting impact on me was I remember when we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with our workforce. And it wasn't just Attapopka, it was the entire organization. Like, this is over 50 some facilities across 9 states, right? And we're all trying to figure out how are we really going to take care of our team members, because nobody's coming into the emergency rooms. We're not doing any surgeries. Like, those are the engines of our facilities. Like, you're not making any money. So how are you going to maintain this staff? And I will never forget our president, Terry Shaw. He had a meeting with all of us and he said, listen, we're going to do whatever we need to do to take care of this team, and we will not let a single team member go. And for knowing how much of our expense is in people, right? And knowing that there was no revenue coming in to offset, and to see the leader of my organization publicly say, we will do whatever we need to do to keep our team members whole, and not just say it, but actually do it. I mean, you can't write a book for that. You can't write a book about that type of leadership at all. That it's strength of character. It's just a strong conviction that he had, and certainly an amazing team in our corporate offices to make that a reality. But it really was possible because of some of that discipline that I've told you that the organization has maintained over the course of its existence.
And for administration to come out with scrubs as well.
Correct.
It's all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. Hands on deck.
And that's important that it shows. It shows the staff, the nurses, and that, hey, the brass really cares.
Yep. Yeah.
And that they're taking a role in helping out.
Yep.
Wherever they can, whatever we can do.
Exactly. Because the notion was, even for those of us who were non-clinical, it was like, okay, if you're wearing an N95, I'm wearing one too. Like, if you're here doing it, I'm here standing right beside you. I might be like
a 95 is a mask.
Yes,
okay.
A mask.
There you go.
If you're wearing a mask, I'm wearing one. Like, we're going to be here to support you through the whole journey. And I think that really transformed for me the way that I saw leadership and what we get to do as leaders, and certainly made me even more committed to be able to demonstrate some of that strength of character, and really build an environment for our team here at Texas Health Mansfield that is supportive, and to make sure that the team members understand that they are the most valuable asset to us as an executive team.
What was your title in Florida when you got the phone call from Mansfield and said, we would like you to be our CEO and president.
So by the time I got the phone call from Mansfield, I was the chief operating officer of Advent Health of Popka. And it was we were doing really great work at the time. The team was really growing rapidly. We were just expanding services into cancer. We were extending our cardiac program. It was a lot of great work that was happening that I got to be on the forefront of and got to really be a key part in creating for that community there in Apopka, Florida.
And you said, I got to go to Texas.
And I said, Texas? I mean, Texas was not one of those places that was on my list. I actually didn't have a list. My husband and I just assumed that we would be in Florida for forever. And we had opportunities to think about venturing away before, but neither of us felt very strongly about it or felt like it was the right time. And so when this opportunity came up, I went home and I was like, you will not believe what happened. Let me tell you what happened. I got this email and then they want to talk about this role. And he was like, oh, cool. And I was like, but it's in Texas. And he was like, Texas? And I was like, yeah, Texas. But the more that I learned about it, the more that I talked with the person who was walking me through the hiring process at the time, I was like, okay, this at least deserves for me to be curious about it. And my husband, who typically is the one who is even more cautious than I am, he said, you really should explore that. And I remember saying to him, well, we've had the opportunity to move before and you've never wanted to. What is it? And he said, I just feel like there's something different about this time.
Yeah.
He was like, I think you should explore that. And I got the opportunity to come out to Mansfield in January of this year. I think it was so cold. I was like, man, it is 30 degrees.
Oh, yeah. It gets a little chilly here, especially coming from Florida.
Nobody told me that. I had no idea. I was like, I'm going to Texas. Texas, Florida, heat, we're good. And I got here in January and I was like, oh, this is a little chillier than I anticipated. But I just met a team of people who were so committed to this notion of extending the healing ministry of Christ and so connected to each other and really so dedicated to this work of providing quality healthcare in this community. It really blew my mind. The team is very close-knit. They work very well together and really prioritize patient care. And I really was just impressed with the community itself and how much growth is happening in Mansfield. And it was one of those things where God opens a window and he shows you a little peek and you're like, really? And then the door opens and you're like, okay, I get what you're trying to help me do here.
Sure.
Absolutely. Let's go do it.
Talk about a typical day of a CEO and president of a hospital in Mansfield.
It really depends on the day, to be honest. I mean, if it's a day like yesterday, I will tell you that I spent some time interviewing candidates. I participated in a Christmas function that we had for members of the community who were experiencing grief during this season. Mm-hmm. So I got the opportunity to sit with those folks in their grief and be a part of that program. And then I got to go to our employee holiday event immediately after that. So it really depends on the time of the year. I know my team does a really great job having my meeting with physicians, connecting with leaders in the community, lots of time building strategy and working with folks. I think for me, the greatest part of the work and certainly the part that I'm excited about in 2025 is really getting to know the community a little bit more. I think those first few months when you move to a new place and you move to a new role, it's kind of like you're drinking water from a fire hose,
yes,
and trying to get your feet under you. But I'm really looking forward to next year being here.
And filling the shoes of Kenneth Rose.
So I have learned, Kenneth certainly has had, the mark that he has left on his community is great. He certainly is an incredible leader. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. One of the things that I've learned over the course of the last few years, I remember when I took my first leadership position. I went to a trusted mentor of mine and I was telling him, I was like, man, I can't replace this other person. Like, they were great. Like, they were incredible. Like, she was amazing. She had the biggest brain. She could do all of the things. And he listened to me talk for like 20 minutes about all the ways that I couldn't fill her shoes. And then he said to me, he was like, Eulanie, you're never going to fill her shoes.
So just be yourself.
Bring your own shoes.
That's it.
Bring your own shoes.
That is it.
There's a healthy amount of respect that you always have for your predecessor, especially one that has been as effective as Kenneth has been. But, you know, it's the joy of transitions is that you get to experience new things.
Right.
And certainly I look forward to honoring the legacy that he's built here in Mansfield, just maybe in a pair of stilettos instead of cowboy boots.
I like it. I like it. What's the hardest part of your job?
Personally, I'll tell you that the hardest part of my job is finding the right balance between being present with my family and with my kids, especially when I'm not at work. So personally, that's one of the things that I'm always striving for, is to make sure that the moments that I have with my family, the moments that count, that I'm really maximizing that time. The nature of the job is such that it's not 9 to 5, it's 24/7, 7 days a week. Like I'm always on, and that's fine. It really doesn't bother me. But the times that I have with my family, making sure that I'm present with my kids. Personally, that's what I'm working through.
Your kids are how old?
My kids are my son is about to turn 13 tomorrow.
Oh.
Yes, so I will have a teenager. It's a little bit difficult for me because he's still an 8-pound, 3-ounce baby I'm holding in my arms, but he'll be 13 tomorrow. And my daughter, Natalie, is 6 going on 26.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So they're amazing, amazing children. But so really making sure that I try to stay present for their moments, especially in this phase of their life, is challenging. I think otherwise, the professionally, the hardest thing right now is just making sure that I'm connecting at the right speed with the community to help them understand the services that are available and even the commitment of the facility to the hospital. I'm really proud of the work that has been accomplished at Texas Health Mansfield over the course of the last few years. I mean, 4 years seems like a short time, but it really is an eternity in healthcare. And I'm really, really grateful for the way that the team has been able to bring online more complex procedures and more services, and really working really hard to make sure that the community is aware of the work that we're doing.
Sure.
And just the difference that there is in the way that we provide care as well. The
Da Vinci is very cool.
Yes, it is. It is very cool.
To the listeners, I attended I guess it'd be like an after-hours party. It was hosted by the chamber, and everybody who was interested in doing it got a chance to play with the robotic arms, and you're looking at a computer screen and you're manipulating these two little arms that is used in surgery.
Absolutely. It gives you a very strong sense of appreciation for physicians and the work that they are able to do, because you look at it and you think, oh, this is going to be easy. And then you try moving those arms. You're like, yeah, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And so certainly always glad to know that we have physician partners in the building for who you can stand and watch them do surgery. And it's like watching a magic trick, just incredibly skilled providers that we get the joy and the pleasure of working with every day.
Was it difficult for surgeons, say the old tried and true surgeons, to make that transition over to being a digital surgeon?
I mean, I think it depends on the surgeon. I think it was harder for some than others. I think when the technology first came in, people are always a little bit leery of what's new. But many of the companies that are providing these robots now, they do so much training and so much onboarding for physicians. They really make it easy. And then the other thing that you can't neglect is the impact that it has on the quality of patient care. Yeah. And for most physicians, regardless of how resistant or reticent folks might be in the beginning, all physicians enter the the profession to be able to take care of their patients to the best of their ability. And once you see the outcomes, you see what it does for patient recoveries, physicians are very, very quick to get on board and to adjust to that.
Before we get into our final segment, I'm just going to open up the mic to you. And if you want to give any shout outs to mentors or staff people or family or anybody that's on your mind that you would like to recognize, now's the time to do that.
I think for me, the first thing that always comes to mind, it's a little cliche, but I'm so grateful for my parents. They did not have a lot. And if I'm honest, like it's not always easy for them even now, you know? And to look back now through the eyes of a parent myself and to understand just how much of themselves they devoted to us and how many sacrifices they made to make sure that we understood, number one, that we had value regardless of our circumstances. Number two, that if we were able to work hard and do all the things that we needed to do, that there was sunshine in the future. And like I said earlier, just to build that strong sense of faith and community into us, I think that I really do owe a large portion of my success to my parents. It sometimes is a little bit of a challenge, knowing that I am the president and CEO of a hospital in a place where healthcare is readily available and accessible, and that is not always the story for my family that lives in other places. But they have perhaps been the biggest impact on my life. So certainly, my parents are the people who matter most. And then I have the blessing of an incredibly supportive husband. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember when we were thinking about getting married and we were talking about career progression and what would happen. And you think about the traditional roles that we all come up with watching TV or experiencing. And we talked about what that would look like. And he said to me, listen, like whoever, I'm willing to be flexible. Whoever's career takes off first, like if that's you, that's fine. I will be here. And it wasn't just something that he said, it's something that he's demonstrated over and over and over again, just being an incredible support. So certainly my husband. And I've had the pleasure of having a lot of mentors and people pour into me over the years. From Richard Brannon, who was my very first boss when I started the organization, to Jessica Beamer, who, when I transitioned to my first director role, she was there, and Kent Johnson. There are a lot of people, Tim Clark, O'Meara, there are a lot of people over the years that have really poured into me. And now, to be honest, this team that I get to work with every day, you don't often think as CEO about the impact that your team makes on you.
Sure.
But getting the ability to watch these leaders every day and to watch these nurses every day and to watch these physicians, and with the passion that they have for the work that they do and the commitment that they have to really extending the healing ministry of Christ within the walls of the hospital and in this community, it really takes my breath away. And more than anything, that gives me more motivation than anything to keep working, keep striving to make sure that we continue to be one of the leading facilities in the market.
Did you ever reconnect with the woman that signed you up for the scholarship?
Okay, now you're really going to make me cry.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to try to hold it together. I actually found out while I was here that she got sick and she passed away.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she actually passed away a few years ago. And, it's one of those things where you're like, man, I wish I could show you.
Can I change the temper?
Absolutely.
The temperature. What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, I'm really a plain Jane, honestly. I'm a vanilla girl. Just give me vanilla, put sprinkles on it, add like some chocolate fudge, vanilla. You can do so many things with it. You're not locked into one thing. It's like you can go as far as your imagination will take you. And I think that's the thing I love about it. It's a good base.
Just 2 days ago, I bought 2 half gallons of vanilla ice cream because you can add nuts to it.
Yeah,
you can add
exactly.
chocolate syrup to it. You can do whatever to it. Yes, you're right. It's a good base. It's a good base. I tell you what, not everyone, almost everyone who sits in that chair right there goes through what's called the lightning round. It's 10 very simple this or that questions. And you, because you're laughing, you seem to have a good sense of humor.
Oh, boy.
And if you're ready and willing.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Night or day?
Day.
Hands-on or delegate?
Hands-on.
Data-driven or gut instinct?
Where's the both option? A little bit of this or a little bit of that. A gut instinct.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Beach or mountain?
Beach.
Of course. She's from the islands. Cutting edge or tried and true?
Cutting edge.
Book or podcast?
Ooh. I feel like there should be a both option on some of these. Book.
Ouch.
Sorry. Honesty?
It's all right. Cake or pie?
Cake.
In person or virtual?
In person.
Open door or appointment only?
Always open.
Open door.
Mm-hmm.
And again, your favorite ice cream is?
Vanilla.
Vanilla. Eulanie Lashley, President, CEO of Texas Health Hospital Mansfield. It's a pleasure getting to know you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And we really didn't get into the nuts and bolts of the hospital. So we'll
have to. That's my second visit.
I was going to say, will you come back and?
Absolutely. I would love to. I would love to do that.
Excellent. We look forward to having you back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for being on About Mansfield.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Coming up next week on About Mansfield, we will talk in studio with yet another fine Mansfield resident. You'll just have to tune in to find out who it is. In the meantime, this is the place where you'll hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, engage, connect, amplify, elevate, celebrate, embrace, explore, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Right there on the homepage, enter your email address. We will never, ever, ever, ever send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Angela Hornburg. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, and it's intended for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is strictly prohibited. We thank you all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.